The chairwoman of the building where we used to live called and said Vitalik set Nastya on fire. She said they called an ambulance and the fire department. He set her on fire. Hello, I am the mother of Nastya Kovalyova, the girl whose fiancé set her on fire. She was just 22 then. Nastenka was born on April 8, 1997, even back in school. She always wanted to help people. If her friends or someone else was in trouble, she was always the first to help. She met Vitalik in Kiev. Nastya went to work in Kiev. At that time, my husband and I were working in Poland. She was very happy then. They were together for a year and a half. Vitalik could create a celebration. We were at home when the situation occurred. They were at our place. My husband and I were in one room, they in another. And Vitalik made quite a scene. As usual, he packed and returned home. And back then I told Nastya, I said, you won't have a good life with him. We likely lived together for 2 weeks, and I observed. And I saw that it was all just an image, and that wasn't his real face. And then I told Nastya, daughter, you won't have a life with him. I said, you're young, you're beautiful. I said, break up and start over. We had that conversation, and Nastya wanted to go to Poland with us. And then, a few days later, she and I went to the market. We finished shopping and were leaving the market. I was saying something about Poland. She was silent. Mom, I'm leaving today. Vitalik called. He apologized a lot. He can't live without me. I'm going to him. She loved him and she wanted a family. I told her it's her life since she's grown up. She replied, Mommy, I'll try again. I said, go ahead. I remember we were in Poland and she called and said, Mommy, he's running after me around the apartment with a knife. I understand that. At that moment, I couldn't help at all. I was in another country. I start calling her, but she doesn't pick up the phone. After about 30 missed calls, she finally answered. She tells me, Mommy, I exaggerated everything. She insists everything is fine. I reply that Nastya can't, and I doubt she exaggerated so much. I remind her, we talked. She responds, Mom, I understand. When she got pregnant by Vitalik, he left her money for an abortion and went to his parents. She calls me crying and says, Mommy, what should I do? I say, what do you mean? What should you do? She was afraid that I would be against it because the baby was Vitalik's. I said, Nastya, this will be our child. It's not Vitalik's, it will be your child, and we will raise him together. I said it doesn't matter to us if Vitalik is around or not. Well, and then Vitalik came back, made another scene with her, and she had a miscarriage. She took it all very hard. He was around and she really wanted a child, so for her it was a tragedy. It all happened to Nastenka on July 2nd. I came home from work and texted my little one. Hi, so daughter, how are you? She said, Hi, Mommy, everything's fine. Sveta, her friend, and I were at the beach. I said, what about Vitalik? But Vitalik didn't want to. And at that time, I already mentioned that he was very jealous. He was just trying to isolate her. So that she would be only with him. I started cooking, and I missed when I got her photo on Viber. Well, I didn't hear it, I didn't check, and there was a photo. She was lying on the couch, and I could see from the photo. She looked very upset. And then I got a call. The head of the building where we lived called me, and she said, Vitalik set Nastya on fire. At first I said, what do you mean set her on fire? What happened? She said they called an ambulance and the fire department. He set her on fire. He went to the gas station and tricked them into giving him those 2 liters of gasoline in a bottle because the gas station wasn't allowed to sell gasoline in a bottle. He called her, she came out of the building and they started talking. And then he started telling her, like, I'm going to set you on fire. He started pouring it on her. He poured 2 liters of gasoline on her. He just set her on fire. When I heard about it, later, after some time, the neighbors ran out. The men ran out in their underwear just when they saw this in the window. And they even ran out in their boxer shorts. I said to my daughter, even when she was still in the hospital, I said, "Daughter, why didn't you run away?" She said, "Mommy, I couldn't believe she would do that."
Did he try to save her there with everyone else?
I said I wasn't a witness. But they say he tried. Only her feet and small face were intact. That's all. He got drunk. She really didn't like drunk people. She didn't like that he was drunk, and she didn't like that he was aggressive when he was drunk. When we got home, there was Vitalik's suitcase with his things lying in their room. That's when Nastya packed all his things herself. And he was sitting in the park, drinking beer, and he understood that this was the end. And he knew very well that Nastya had already packed his things herself. And we arrive in 2 weeks. That means there will be no going back for him. I'll support him regardless, so he chose to do it this way. This situation, right away. I threw it right away. I put the essentials in a bag. I grabbed my money, passport, and my husband quickly drove me to the bus home. I'm on the bus texting Nastya's dad. Did he make it? He reached the hospital. What's happening there? He writes that he made it. And that's it, just silence. I keep writing to him. Silence, I write and write, silence. And he doesn't answer me. He writes that she got badly burned. I ask, what percentage? And when I saw the number 85, it was terrifying. At that moment, I understood perfectly well that that's a non-survivable percentage. I arrived in Kiev. I immediately bought a return bus ticket to Zaporizhzhia. Many people started calling me, "Return your bus tickets and fly by plane, you might not make it in time." She stayed conscious for 3 days. I got to Zaporizhzhia and went directly to the hospital. I enter the hospital room and she asks, "Mommy, why are you here?" "I'm doing fine." She is so... That's all. She endured it bravely. She filled me with positivity and hope. So I decided we will manage. We may be the only ones like this, but we will overcome this percentage. They said, "We can't even tell you the depth of the burns right now. The burns continue to develop inside for a couple more days." When this stopped, the process stopped inside. There were 2nd and 3rd degree burns, the worst kind. She had probably almost down to the bone everywhere. But she was on medication. She was given painkillers. But when they took her for dressing changes, I was outside the dressing room. I heard her screaming how much pain she was in. Only her little fingers were sticking out from the bandages, just like that, just a little bit. When she wanted to drink, I would open the bottle so she could have some water. She told me, "Mommy, don't. I want to open it myself." I said, But we're right here. She said, that's just for now. You're here now. But at night, what if I want to drink? The nurses are sleeping. Why should I wake them up? Just to have some water? I'll open the bottle myself and drink by myself.
Did she have several surgeries?
2. Where the burns were the deepest, they removed the top layer and applied artificial skin. During this surgery, her heart stopped. They restarted it there. But only for a short time. And it was gone the next day. The surgery was on the morning of July 9th. At 6 p.m. on July 10th, she was gone. So her dad and I were at the hospital. Sometimes her dad would go in, sometimes I would go in. Well, at that moment, he and I went upstairs together, again to visit her, to find out how things were. When we entered the room, I looked at the monitors. They weren't very good. Then I immediately ran to get the doctor. The doctor came running. He didn't come out for a long time. Then he came out and said that it's over. All this happened on July 2nd, and Nastya was gone by July 10th. She was taken from the hospital. To the morgue. And from there they brought her back already. To the cathedral for the funeral service. We went to pick out a wedding dress for Nastya.
How did you get through all of that?
I don't remember. I don't remember that time very well.
How long after did you decide to sell the apartment?
When Nastya was gone, I decided right away. I remember my husband and I just left for Poland, just so we wouldn't be at home. It was a little easier there. Because I interacted daily with reality. Wherever you go, wherever you look, memories come up right away. I decided.
Don't you walk through this yard?
No.
When did you see Vitalik for the first time?
In court. 2 or 3 months later, I cried.
And he?
Mommy, forgive me, I didn't mean to. When Nastya was still in the intensive care unit, they came here to see the investigator, but they didn't contact me. They were in Zaporizhia. They called, that was already. Nastya was unconscious. And then when Nastya left, they gave me 5,000. And then only after, when all the court cases started, his mother called and asked once. She asked me not to ask for a life sentence. And that's all. I explained that you, no matter what, you can still see your son. But I can't see Nastya. Our last trial was on November 7th, 2021. It was the Supreme Court, and they upheld his sentence of 15 years.
Do you often dream about Nastya?
No, I asked her to, but no.
You ask her to appear in your dreams? Do you blame yourself?
Of course.
Why do you think it's your fault?
I couldn't protect him.
Why did you decide to share this story?
I really want young girls didn't always think like my Nastya. I just love. She'll get used to it, she'll fall in love, he'll change. Girls, nothing will change. Nothing. If he started acting like this, it won't get any better. It'll only get worse. So, as soon as you notice the first signs of aggression or anything like that, just run away. He is not the last man on this earth. Look for your own happiness. Well, I want. No one else was hurt. I hoped he would change, and for the best. You shouldn't hope. You have to break it off. It's hard, but it has to be done.
Do you think you'll ever be able to get through all this and stop blaming yourself?
No. Never.